The sun had just started to rise over the open plains when Ethan saw her. A lone Mustang mare, trembling and drenched in sweat, struggling in the tall grass with labored breaths. Her eyes were wide with fear, and her legs buckled beneath her, but she wasn't running. She couldn't. Something was wrong, and Ethan knew it the second their eyes met. He leapt from his truck, his boots crunching over gravel as he grabbed a water canteen and a soft rope. The old rancher had delivered calves and even helped foal a horse once before, but nothing had prepared him for what was coming. "I'm here, girl," he whispered, voice low and soothing, inching closer. The mare let out a strained whinny, her flanks heaving with every breath. Ethan's heart pounded, not from fear, but from urgency. He didn't know how long she'd been in labor. But one thing was certain. If he didn't act fast, both the mother and her foal might not make it. The early morning wind carried a faint, desperate scent of blood, sweat, and earth. Ethan dropped to his knees beside her, gently pressing his hand to her side. Her muscles spasmed beneath his palm. "You're not alone," he murmured. "I've got you." He could feel the foal trying to come, but something was wrong. Too much time had passed, and the position wasn't right. She wasn't progressing. He needed help. "Hang on," he said, pulling out his phone with shaking hands. No signal. Of course. Ethan scanned the horizon. Nothing but rolling fields and distant hills. The closest vet clinic was over an hour away, and he wasn't sure she had that kind of time. He made a choice. "I'll help you myself." He grabbed the birthing kit from his truck, something he always carried, just in case. Latex gloves. Clean towels. A little iodine. He wiped sweat from his brow as he approached her again. She lay on her side now, grunting and whimpering, her body nearly giving out. Ethan gently positioned himself behind her and began guiding the foal's legs, trying to adjust the angle. The mare screamed. Ethan flinched but didn't stop. "It's okay," he whispered. "Push. You can do this." With every contraction, she seemed to weaken. Time blurred into a tunnel of effort and prayer. Then, finally, a breakthrough. The foal's hooves emerged. Ethan carefully pulled with the rhythm of the mare's contractions, slowly, deliberately. Inch by inch, the foal came into the world. Ethan's arms trembled, his breath ragged, but his focus never wavered. And then there it was. A limp, wet figure slid onto the grass. Ethan cleared its nose and mouth with trembling hands. It wasn't breathing. "No," he muttered. No, not like this." He rubbed its chest, pounded gently, breathed into its tiny nostrils. "Come on," he pleaded. "Don't give up. Come on, little one." A sputter, a gasp, and then the foal shuddered and let out the faintest, raspy whinny. Ethan laughed, choking back tears. That's it. That's it. But just as he reached for a towel to wrap the newborn, the mare made a deep, guttural noise. Ethan froze. She wasn't done. His eyes darted to her belly, which was still contracting violently. "No way," he whispered. "Is there another?" The mare kicked, panicked now. Her breathing had grown frantic. Ethan moved fast, examining her again. And what he found left him speechless. There was another set of hooves. Twins. Wild Mustangs almost never have twins. And when they do, it rarely ends well. The second foal often doesn't survive. Ethan's hands trembled. He wasn't just fighting for one life now, he was fighting for two. He glanced at the foal already born, now stirring in the grass beside him, barely strong enough to lift its head. And then he turned back to the mare, who was starting to go limp. "No," he said firmly. "You're not leaving them. Not like this." He placed a steadying hand on her flank. "I'm not letting you go." But her eyes fluttered closed. Damn it, Ethan cursed under his breath. He knew what was happening. She was slipping away. The stress, the pain, it was too much. He needed to act now. He braced himself and reached in. And what he found wasn't what he expected. The second foal wasn't positioned headfirst. It was breech. Ethan's stomach turned. He'd seen this before. The chances of survival were dropping by the second. He repositioned, twisting his arms, guiding the tiny form carefully but quickly. "Stay with me," he whispered. "Don't you leave me now." And then movement. The mare let out a deep breath, as if she heard him. Her eyes fluttered back open. "That's it, girl. Come on. You've got one more in you." With all the strength he had, Ethan pulled. He gritted his teeth, eyes stinging with sweat and dust. The foal inched out, slowly, painfully. Then suddenly, it was over. The second foal slipped free. It was smaller, fragile. He turned it over, cleared its nose. No breath. Ethan's heart stopped. "Come on. Not this one, too." He rubbed its sides, lifted its neck, breathed into its mouth. Nothing. Then, a cough. And a gasp. The foal blinked. Ethan collapsed to his knees, overcome. 2 lives saved. But he didn't even get a moment to breathe, because the real shock hadn't come yet. As he turned to check on the mare, something caught his eye just behind her. Something no one expected to find on that field. To be continued. Ethan stood frozen, eyes locked on the spot behind the mare where something moved in the tall grass. His mind raced, struggling to make sense of what he was seeing. It wasn't another animal, not a predator or scavenger. It looked like a bundle, wrapped in worn, sun-bleached cloth. Carefully, he stepped around the mare, who now lay still, exhausted but alive. Both foals nestled close to her, breathing faintly but steadily. For a brief second, peace had settled over the field. But now something stirred beneath the grass just beyond. As he knelt closer, Ethan's breath caught. His hand reached out and slowly pulled away the fabric. Underneath was a child. A baby, barely a few months old, bundled tightly and left hidden in the prairie. "Oh my God," Ethan whispered, scooping the baby into his arms. The child whimpered softly, blinking against the morning light. Alive. Hungry, but alive. His heart thundered in his chest. Who would abandon a baby out here? And why? Why next to a wild horse in distress? The questions piled up faster than he could process. But one thing was crystal clear. He wasn't just part of a rescue anymore. This had become something else entirely. He wrapped the baby tighter in the fabric and held it close to his chest. The infant's skin was cold, lips dry, but there were no obvious signs of injury. Someone had meant for this child to be found, or maybe hoped they wouldn't. Ethan stood up, scanning the vast fields once more. Nothing but wind and wild grass. No vehicle tracks. No footprints. No signs of a mother. "I don't understand," he murmured. The mare, still breathing heavily, turned her head toward him. Her eyes, deep and glassy, seemed to watch his every move. Ethan didn't believe in miracles, not in the traditional sense. But something about this moment felt bigger than him. "You brought me here," he whispered to the mare. "You weren't just trying to give birth, were you?" He shook his head, trying to stay grounded. Time was critical. He gently placed the baby in the truck's passenger seat, wrapping him in a clean blanket. Then he returned with a large dog crate and carefully lifted both foals inside, setting it securely in the bed of the truck. The mare, miraculously, was able to stand, though shaky. With slow encouragement, he coaxed her up a ramp he'd fashioned from planks and into a makeshift pen. Every second was surreal. A wild Mustang giving birth to twins. A human baby hidden in the same field. All discovered by pure coincidence. Or was it fate? Ethan drove like his life depended on it. Back at his ranch, he called the vet and Child Protective Services. The vet, Dr. Ramirez, arrived within an hour, stunned into silence when she saw the scene. "You're telling me twins?" she said, inspecting the foals. "And this mare survived a breech birth?" "Barely," Ethan said. "But that's not all." He handed her the baby. Dr. Ramirez's mouth dropped open. "What? Where did?" "I found him next to the mare, wrapped up like someone wanted him hidden." She held the infant gently, listening to his heartbeat. "He needs fluids. But he's strong." Soon, a social worker arrived, a woman named Laurel with kind eyes and steady hands. She listened carefully to Ethan's story, taking notes, making calls. "I'll have to place him into temporary care," she said. But do you have any idea how rare this is? More than rare, Ethan muttered. It feels like destiny. As the hours passed, the foals grew stronger. The mare drank water, nuzzled her young, and slowly regained her strength. Ethan kept walking out to the barn every 10 minutes, unable to stay away. Something about them, especially the second foal, the one that nearly didn't make it, pulled at him. He named them Hope and Miracle. That night, Ethan sat outside with Laurel. The baby had been picked up by the state, but Laurel promised to stay in touch. Ethan stared at the stars. I can't stop thinking about it, he said. What if I hadn't driven down that road? What if I hadn't stopped? You did, she said gently. That's what matters. You were exactly where you needed to be. Weeks passed. News of the story spread, local papers, radio stations, even a national news clip. People called it the Mustang miracle. Strangers donated supplies, offered to adopt the foals, even wrote letters asking about the baby. But Ethan stayed quiet. He wasn't in this for the headlines. Months later, he received a letter from Laurel. Inside was a photo, the baby smiling in the arms of a young couple. Adopted. Safe. Loved. Ethan smiled, holding the photo gently in his calloused hands. Out in the pasture, Hope and Miracle ran beneath the rising sun, their mother close behind. He leaned against the fence and whispered, "Thank you, girl." The mare turned, as if she heard him. Sometimes, the world has a way of showing us its beauty, not in the perfect moments, but in the broken ones we try to mend. Ethan never saw himself as a hero. But for 3 lives that day, he became one. The end.